Okay, guys, I'm going to do a deep dive into a comment that was left on the Jesus is Dead video I did a couple days ago. This comment was left by Jennifer Green. She says, I have so much to say about religion I could fill a book, but I'm just going to share one recent episode I've experienced regarding this subject. As an aside, why is it these religious nuts always seem to use excessive punctuation and capitalization? It's like they think it's going to drive their dogma home. Anyways, a little over a year ago, I had to stop talking to someone I was friends with for 25 years, and it was over religion. I mean, there were many more problems with our friendship than that, but this religious thing was just the final nail in the coffin. I mentioned the term tares, T-A-R-E-S. I mentioned the term tares to try to describe what people might mean by NPCs in language she could understand in order to get a point across. And she implied that I have no right to have an opinion about religion and the meaning behind biblical terms because I didn't understand Christianity. And because I don't go to church. Okay, so, just right there, these people are supposed to be all loving and an example of Christ and trying to walk in his footsteps. But unfortunately, these Christians live by the mantra of Christians aren't perfect, just forgiven. Most Christians are, again, it's just surface Christianity. They go to church once a week, some of them once a month, some Christians once a year. They worship for a couple hours, a week, and that's it. They might say a prayer. They might pray before their meals real quick. Thank you, Jesus, for the food, and they eat, and that makes them a Christian. But otherwise, they do nothing. It is not by works, but by faith alone that they attain their salvation, and they literally live by that. Like they think they are extremely self-righteous, and they're dangerous people, extremely dangerous, judgmental, nasty, egotistical people. This is coming from a 50-year-old who told me she cried because recently, when her perverted preacher stepfather tried to hit her, he was too weak to actually hurt her. She cried because she felt sorry for him. This dude sexually and physically abused her the entire time she was growing up. So, this woman is so damaged and has not dealt with any issues or faced anything, any reality of any situation, that she actually worshipped and adored the man who was supposed to protect her stepfather, when she was a young child, and instead would physically and sexually abuse her. And at 50 years old, she is still worshiping and idolizing this man. That is what you call a trauma bond. And this is an extreme example of a trauma bond, but that gives you an idea of what a trauma bond is, guys. That is Stockholm syndrome, okay? That is the way these systems are set up, again, because we have the same thing with our parents. If your parent or us as parents have not apologized to our children, now that we are waking up on our healing journey, not apologize for bringing them into a world of complete chaos, confusion, and suffering, and explain to them that we were unhealed, or our parents this goes either way. We're explaining to our kids, or our parents are apologizing to us, and explain to them that the reason I did this was because I was completely bamboozled and disillusioned and had no clue. I was looking for something to love because I was in so much pain, and the trauma and abuse was too much, and I never had a safe space to talk about it or heal, and I never took time and attention to myself. I actually didn't even love myself. I was, trying to avoid myself at all costs. I couldn't even be alone. So until our parents do that, they should be shamed and guilted. They should not be talked to. If they are not going to accept the fact that they brought us into these systems unprepared and indoctrinated and acted as a jailer to get us to comply and follow along and participate in these systems of enslavement and dopamine hits and coping mechanisms to even be able to live and survive in this world, then that is a trauma bond, guys. We are trauma bonded to our parents. Period. It's that simple. No, your parents, if they are not admitting this and trying to set things right and living in truth, fact, and reality and have their thoughts, words, and actions aligned, I don't care how much money they have, how they provided for you when you were little, how nice they were, how pleasing they were. If they are not facing these things, truth, fact, and reality, and living in la la land and fantasy land, then that is called a trauma bond. If you are worshiping and adoring them and you're like, I'll never talk bad about my parents, I'll never I'll always defend them, I'll always stand behind them, that is a trauma bond. That is an example of Stockholm Syndrome. The same thing goes for, people who worship government and vote in these fake elections. The government are the ones that make the laws that suppress you and oppress you and keep your wage just at a living wage, and tax the living hell out of you, and the reason why you have to work 40 hours a week and never to have time off, and the reason there's not free health care and free this and free that. Look, guys, all of these things are examples of trauma bond. If you are, I can't think of any more examples right now, but this gives you an idea. These are trauma bonds. Okay, this is not you humbling yourself. This is not you being such a virtuous a virtuous, pious person by, well, I forgive them for abusing me as a youngster. It's okay. They had a hard life and did what they have to do. That is some serious coping mechanisms and trauma bonding that you need to take care of and confront and really get down to the root of. Because if you are surrounding yourself with them and still looking for their attention and their so-called love, which is not love at all, it's all completely selfish, egotistical trauma bonding, then you are under the spell. You have Stockholm Syndrome, period. It's that simple. Healed people that love themselves and care about themselves do not disregard the actions and behaviors of another person that has caused them pain and suffering, and just say, oh, well, they do their best. Oh, they try. Oh, we're all, we're all human. We do what we can. Yes, people hurt each other. No, there's no excuses for that, guy. If you want to continue to live on the hamster wheel of this stupid shit and just never have any answers to anything and just be wishy-washy and just doing what you can to survive, that is that kind of thinking. Okay, but if you want to reclaim and do your thing, you are still bamboozling yourself and saying, "Oh, my parents were great people." You really need to take a deep look and introspection into what you're saying. Did your parents make you get good grades? Did they force you to go to school? Did they force you to get shots at the doctors? Did they force you to participate in the workforce? Did they force you to or did they, were they part of the reason you're addicted to TV now? Are they part of the reason you're addicted to junk food? Are they part of the reason why you're coping to get through life? Are they part of the reason why you have toxic positivity? Are they part of the reason why you have a low self-esteem? Are they part of the reason why, all of these things you need it. If you are defending your parents, you are stopping yourself from going deep into your own healing, because what it's doing is it's justifying how you were treated and what happened along the way that you attended these state indoctrination centers to become an obedient, compliant slave. So it's all wrapped up together, and you need to deep dive it. You need to get down to the root of it. You need to take those blinders off, those pink colored glasses, rose colored glasses you have on that you see your parents through, and you really need to inspect that, because I guarantee once you do, your childhood issues will start opening up. You'll be able to process things, and then you'll be able to take care of your future, of your here and now, and it'll help you realize things that you couldn't see before because you've been looking through rose-colored glasses at your parents and refusing to acknowledge their burden of proof that they truly loved and cared about you. Not that they provided all the food for you, not that they provided a roof over your head, not that they showed you how much they worked and how tired they were when they got home, and all their virtue signaling they did, and that they gave you toys on Christmas and they did this for you and they did that. No, and they drove you to sporting events. That doesn't count as good parenting, guys. Those are all that is just good slaves of the matrix that are participating in slavery systems and thereby propagating and perpetuating the slavery onto their child and how to participate. That is abuse. That is misuse, period. So that was a 50-year-old woman who cried, that told her that she had no right to talk about religious terms because she had no idea what Christianity was and she didn't go to church. But yet here she is crying at 50 years old because her stepfather tried to hit her recently. He's a pastor too. Tried to hit her recently and was too weak to hurt her. Do you see how mind-bending this is and how nasty, disgusting, and toxic and perverted that is? I mean, and these type of people, women like this, get in bad relationships. They get in relationships where they abuse their spouse or the spouse abuses them because they're just used to that chemical, that chemical signal of getting those emotions all fired up and being in fight or flight and all of these things. Your body gets addicted to these situations. So usually these people like her, because they don't heal, because they don't address things, and then they fall into Christianity and Jesus saves them and they don't even ever have to think about their past or anything. Everything's forgiven. They just have to profess Christ as their Lord and Savior and everything's taken care of. They don't have to do anything else. And then what happens is they go about the rest of their life extremely confused and manipulated and completely stuck in illusion because they can't understand, well, my stepdad's a preacher. He's Jesus loves him too. We're just human. And yeah, that's how this shit just keeps on going in circles, man. But yeah, the guy sexually and physically abused her the whole time she was growing up, and she fucking cried when he hit her when she was 50 years old recently, and it didn't hurt her. She cried for him. Then she proceeded to tell me that she wasn't confused about reality and the state of the world. There you go. I mean, all the confusion we just talked about, and even still being around her abuser just because he's a Christian and a preacher, supposedly a Christian, and acts and says he's a preacher. He's a damn predator. This man is the predator of predators. He's in a teaching position, which means he's probably abused other children and other people physically and sexually, because these pastors are horrible and known for taking advantage of their positions and molesting children. I mean, the Catholic Church is wrought with fucking thousands upon thousands upon thousands of these popes and priests in high positions, raping and doing all kinds of untold acts to hundreds of innocent young children. But yet she thinks that she's not confused about reality and the state of the world. This is how far in la la land these people are. Okay? They don't even think they're confused or they got a handle on reality. Everything's fine. I'm a Republican. Everything's good. I know exactly what's going on. I watch Fox News. I'm a Democrat. Shit, our man's in president right now. I ain't worried about shit. Everything's taken care of. I just got to keep on paying my taxes, keep on doing what I'm supposed to do. Democratic Party's going to take care of me. Everything's all right. I know exactly what reality is. I mean, these people are so far out there, dude. So sold out to the system. So fucking far gone. So downloaded on the program. You know, keep their TV on all fucking day with the news on and the celebrity gossip and all the distractions. In my honest opinion, this is the very definition of confusion. She's exactly right. It was at this point I could see there was no getting through to her. It took Jennifer 25 years. So that this is a huge testament to Jennifer's healing journey that, you know, that she took this step and cut this woman off after 25 years. In the past, my conditioning would have told me to remain being her friend because I could relate to her abuse and that her abuse was worse than mine. See, and that's what we do. That's how my mom got away with things, you know. Oh, you don't know how bad I have it. Blah, blah. And so these abusers love talking about how badly they had it and that you shouldn't complain. Guys, think about how many of your parents out there have said that. Oh, you got it good. Don't you complain about my discipline. You got it good. When I was a kid, you know, and they use that like that. Just because you're less evil, just because you're less abusive, you're still evil. You're still abusive, right? It's that simple, guys. In any thinking outside of that, any justification of their actions and behaviors outside of that is gaslighting yourself, and it's called a trauma bond. You are trauma bonded to them. You are suffering from Stockholm syndrome. And she mentions conditioning. Her conditioning in the past would have told her to remain being her friend. So, right there, Jennifer has made a huge step in her healing. Because in the past, her conditioning, that means now, in the here and now, her conditioning, she's breaking those programs. She's breaking those habits. She's breaking that conditioning. She's getting rid. She's dropping the toxic people in her life. She's, first of all, had to recognize and accept how toxic they were, how detrimental they were to her health and well-being, and then she had to take action and actually cut her off. This is a huge step in somebody's journey, guys, and it can't just be disregarded. I mean, this takes effort, this takes work, this takes, courage to do, and then to share it as complete honesty. Yeah, that thing about, she couldn't do anything. Before she was just felt so guilty about like defending herself because that woman supposedly suffered more abuse than Jennifer. And that these abusers, man, they are notorious for telling you that you shouldn't complain or getting you to feel sorry for them because after they sexually or physically or emotionally or mentally or verbally, abuse you by saying, oh, I'm sorry I did that, but I had such a hard upbringing. I just had and they get you to feel sorry for them, to take your attention away from what they did to you and now put all your emotions and feelings into them. It's narcissistic. Which would, of course, result in her abusing me, which has always been the dynamic of our relationship. That was their dynamic. And guys, when you're in those relationships, and especially for that long, it's because, so what happens in the body, if you're in a relationship with someone that abuses you, is when you get in those arguments or you get in those fights or you get in those conflicts like that, your body releases chemicals. It's just like a drug. Your body releases actual chemicals. And to your brain, and you get addicted to that feeling. You literally get addicted to people abusing you. You literally get addicted. Like, things will be going great, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this good. And then you self-destruct because you are addicted. You are literally addicted. You haven't had that chemical rush, even if it's a bad one, like being abused physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, verbally, whatever, by somebody. You are literally addicted because that abuse triggers that chemical, and that's the only way you can get that chemical rush. And our systems get addicted to it. This religious indoctrination runs so deep with people, it's incredible. Yeah, extremely deep, and it's everywhere. It's pervasive. It's all through society. It's bad, guys. It's really bad, and it's up to us to cut these people off and completely disassociate and get away from them, because you can't heal with people like that around you. You can't heal with people like that calling you. You can't heal with people like that interrupting your life. You can't heal. They are an impediment. They are there. The matrix, if you were trying to heal and keep people like that in your life, they will be called on by the matrix. So, because the matrix knows you're trying to heal, so in them being those types of people, narcissists and egos and living in ego, right, and unhealed without any intention to heal and have fully sold out to the program, they are completely at the will of the matrix, okay, of this power structure, whatever that is. We'll call it matrix to make it easy to grasp. And what the matrix does is it will use those people, because you haven't cut them off yet. It will use those people like an Agent Smith. Remember Agent Smith? It could get into anybody and take over their bodies and control them. Okay, that's what the matrix does. If you don't cut these people off and you're trying to heal, the matrix gets into them and influences them through mind control, influences them to say things, to do things, to whatever, to get you off your healing path, to crush you emotionally and mentally, to crush you and stop you and make you feel crazy for thinking critically and for breaking away from these things and from detaching from the material illusion and the consumerist illusion, and all of these things. The matrix will work through them, just like an Agent Smith is able to enter all these bodies, of these, let's call them NPCs, whatever you want to call them. But I don't think they're non-player. They're close to being non-player characters, but they do have a soul, which is way, 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 way back there, down low in the trunk of the car, and they have a party full of alter egos that are taking turns at the wheel, driving the fucking vehicle, and crashing it into the ground. So, those types of people are being utilized by the matrix when you are on your healing journey. And that's why it's so important to cut everybody off, and whoever needs to be cut off, because they will be an impediment to your healing and make it just about impossible to heal. I'll read my response to her real quick, and then this video will be done. I said, man, Jen, you actually touched on a few deep issues there in your comment. I will make a video and go over that comment, as a lot to unpack there. Good to hear that you cut that toxicity out of your life. That one act is a display of your journey, as, like you mentioned, that reciprocal back and forth between the two of you has been going on a long time. You will only benefit from this move you made in the right direction. Most likely she will have a hard time separating herself from you, as she is trauma bonded and her ego feeds off the exchanges you described. Wonder how long she can go without that energy exchange. And that's the other thing. These people, whether it's friends, family, associates, whatever, co-workers, it doesn't matter. When you cut them off, through over a fight or whatever, they are going to start hounding you, because it is extremely difficult for them, because they have been so used to, for so long, sucking that energy out of you and getting that hit, that chemical hit, and all of these things, that they are going to miss it. They are going to miss abusing you. They are going to miss traumatizing. They are going to miss being an energy vampire and sucking all that energy and life out of you. They are going to miss it so bad. They're going to come back and apologize. They're going to do whatever they can to reestablish that relationship. And as they see that you keep on holding them at bay, it is going to piss them off. And no telling what these people are capable of, guys. I mean, it's no joke. You think it's a joke? It's no fucking joke. Especially if, the Matrix takes a hold of them and, convinces them to, hey, this is, motherfucker, you want all the pleasures of this world? I got a mission for you. This is what you're going to do. And I'm not saying that these people will consciously do some of these things. It's just they are running off of programs, habits, and beliefs, and dopamine hits, and the addiction to chemicals, and and then the influence from the Matrix, that they will behave and act in these ways and think they're completely justified. These religious people, including those who worship science, politics and government, celebrity, sports, education, etc., have to fight tooth and nail for their team in order to convince themselves and others that their beliefs are right. It's all distraction and meant to separate and confuse us. All these organizations and industries focus and stress the importance of the group, team, and the righteousness of their dogma. And they tell the individual that the individual needs to sacrifice for the greater good, needs to sacrifice for the good of the group, needs to sacrifice for the ideologies, needs to sacrifice for the cause, needs to sacrifice. And it's all about getting, again, that, guys, I hope you're starting to see the theme in my videos now of what I'm trying to get across, is that they are doing everything they can to take the individual away from the individual and turn them into an automaton, turn them into a non-thinking, group-thinking, slave-minded zombie, mindless minion that's just going to follow along and be part of the mob mentality. The thing that scares this Matrix is, the only thing that scares this Matrix is each of us waking up to our own individuality and how important and special we are. That is it. Nothing else we do. No, we could be a Martin Luther King. We could be a fucking JFK Jr. We could be all of these fucking things, these so-called leaders, like Gandhi, Mother Teresa, all of that. All of those cocksuckers were all virtue-signaling, egocentric motherfuckers. That's all they were. Psychopathic, sociopathic fools. The misguiding and doing everything just for their own ego. And, to have probably all of them, what is that called? Controlled opposition. Most likely all of them controlled opposition. That's why you can't have heroes outside yourself. You can't have saviors. You can't look back at the good old days. You can't be like, oh, the presidents used to be there for America, and when America was great, and all that shit. It's all false, guys. It's all false. 100% false. An illusion. It's all distraction and meant to separate and confuse us. All these organizations and industries focus and stress the importance of the group, team, and the righteousness of their dogma. This causes strict adherence and support for their ideology, regardless of what it takes to forward the message of Christ or force their rules and beliefs on others, no matter what. Absolutely disgusting and extremely dangerous. Thank you for sharing, and really good to see you take courageous action and do what is necessary for your health and well-being. Take care. So, yep, just thought I'd share that and clear up some more points. Again, just trying to tie everything in together, because I realize, like, I sit in this. I sit in this contemplation. I sit in this introspection. I sit in these thought processes, and I've been doing it for so long now. Like I said, just working enough to survive. So, like, most of my energy every day, every month, every week is focused on these things. So it's just so clear to me that when I do these videos, I don't understand that most people are, not living in environments like I am conducive to this type of ability to focus and give attention to for so many hours throughout the day to their healing and to what is actually going on. So, maybe they only get it when they listen to my videos. And so I'll try to be more aware of that. I'm trying to become more aware of that. And I think that's why just the reiteration and the going over from different angles and different perspectives of these insights is so important to, for people to understand. This isn't some fad. These things aren't just something I'm just coming up with and then I go about my life and go out there and, party down or, get wrapped up in sports or, entertainment or, distraction. I'm not doing that. I mean, I am living what I'm speaking because I know that these things are correct and that the illusion and the blanket of illusion, the veil of illusion has been placed over us so thickly that, most people can have no clue, because when they do get a chance to see what's actually going on, it scares the living fuck out of them and they dive even deeper into the illusion and into their distractions, just that way they can avoid the pain that it causes in the cognitive dissonance that causes. So, yeah, I'll continue to try to come at these things from different angles, and people leaving comments really helps me because, I can see their little nuances of how they're dealing with life and the people that they're associating with and what's going on, and then it opens me up and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good way to explain this. So that's why I'm doing all these different videos like this, and I hope it helps. But please feel free to leave your comments if you think, they're going to help people, inspire people, encourage people. And remember, take care of yourself because nobody else will, guys. Especially not your sexually and physically abusive preacher stepfather. Disgusting.